What is going on, guys? I this is the first ever stream of Friday Fish Fry. So I'm a pretty big fan of Land and Sea, which so far there's 8 books out. They've all been written by Blaine Pardoe. I do think going forward they're planning on maybe bringing in other authors just to exponentially grow the IP. But to my knowledge, Blaine Pardoe is kind of the linchpin, the foundational cornerstone of the novels. And so far, they've kind of been releasing all their content in like seasons. So season one, they released 6 novels that I believe that Blaine basically wrote them all up, and as soon as he was done, they, you know, edited them and stuff, and then got them ready for publication. And yeah, I think they released them was like I've said this before on my channel, but like a month apart back in maybe it was 2023. They knocked all those out. Then they had a Kickstarter for their graphic novel, which started in May 2024. I also backed that, so I should be getting a copy of that graphic novel called Paradise. Covers a interspecies. I'll get more into what Alien is about in a little bit, but yeah, it just covers like the fighting. Basically, there's a war going on, and it covers the fighting in Hawaii. And it's a graphic novel. It looks dope. We've already got some emails showing us like progress and pages that have been finished, and it looks great. Super excited for that. And then I don't know. There's a lot of rumor mill going on in the Discord about the tabletop war game. So they did a demo of it at what was like a fan con or fan expo or something. It was up in Washington. I can't remember if it was like Bellevue or Monroe, something up north, top of Washington. But yeah, they did a debut of that, and everyone's just been kind of clamoring at the bit to play this game. But it sounds like it's gonna be coming out pretty soon, according to I think Brett Evans and Eric Crew both talked about. Brett said it's gonna come out soon, and then Eric kind of teased saying, "Did somebody say Christmas?" Didn't give us any confirmation, but it kind of put that little Easter egg out there. So who knows, man? We might have this tabletop game before Christmas time, so that would be super badass. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about Land and Sea. So the gist of it is, strange aliens have invaded Earth from outer space, obviously, but they're all like aquatic looking species. There's a ton of variation. There's some that look like scorpion, crab, lobster monsters. There's some that look like scaly, big tooth gorilla looking things. But like amphibian kind of, but like built like a gorilla. There's big, like shark skin, basically like the alien equivalent to a mech. It's like I want to say 8-9 feet tall, huge, heavy as hell, and it's basically it's their version of a mech, but instead of it being a machine with another organism in it, it's just one being that's in a crazy pressurized suit to keep it alive. There are what else are there, dude? There's a whole bunch. There's frogs, which are nasty little bastards. They're more of like a swarming type creature that spit acid. There are dillos, which are kind of look like little armored rat things. Also a swarming type enemy. There's like flying like blimpy bomber jellyfish things. There's all kind. Dude, there's so many different kinds of aliens, and each time a new book comes out, I guess not every single time, but we're definitely keep at a consistent rate. We're getting new species introduced to us, so it's pretty dope. I'm excited for that. I know I just said that a bunch, but yeah, I think so. That's kind of the gist of Land and Sea, but let's do a little bit more in-depth talking about like what the actual lore is. So I'll do a quick screenshot. We'll do that part second. Let me go over here. So there's the fan wiki, and one of the guys in the Discord actually runs this. So it is a near future military sci-fi from the creative minds of Brett Evans and the team at Creative Juggernaut. As I said, Blaine Pardoe so far has written all the novels, all 8 in the series, and they're not like say series. They're all in the same IP, and there's a lot of characters that have been in book 1 and are in book 8. You know, they kind of or everything, but there are actually cohesive. Like, so the first 3 books are a trilogy, and then book 4 is a collection of short stories. Book 5 is a legitimate, just standalone story, but there are a couple of the characters from like the first trilogy that pop in for a second or are mentioned or something. And then see, that's book 6. Book 7 is kind of a precursor. Sorry, book 6 is kind of a precursor to book 7, although there's a it isn't. It isn't. There's a lot of characters that are introduced in that or have their stories further explained in book 6, which is Tides of Redemption, that kind of go into book 7, which is book 1 of the next trilogy, because book 6 was the last book at the end of season 1. So as of when this was last updated, it says there are currently 6 Land and Sea novels. So the new novels haven't been added on here, I guess, but yeah. So book 7 is Cyclones of Chaos, and book 8 is Tsunami of Turmoil, published by Wargate Books, too, in case you wanted to know. And then on May 9th, 2024, that's when the first graphic novel came out. Land and Sea Paradise was launched on the crowdfunding website Indiegogo. That's where I backed it. Oh, mech. I think the mech is, they have a rhino and a lion, I think. All right, what's going down, dude? Let's go more to the... So season 1, you can see season 1 novels refer to the first 6 Land and Sea novels, which were released in 2023. Yeah, that's correct. Let's go before. I want to like kind of get to the, let's see here, timeline. Let's do timeline. Russo Bratva, because that's important to like the backstory and kind of just the setting of this world, which is Earth, but it's just here, perfect right here. Similar to, let me see, can you guys see that? Yeah, you can see that all right. Okay, cool. Similar to how the timeline for the Fallout game universe diverges from real life in the 1950s, the Land and Sea timeline diverges from reality in the 2020s. So yeah, I mean, everything's the same. COVID happened and all that stuff. But then obviously at that point, we are in a completely different universe than the one we're living in right now. So that's cool because it's like, it's familiar and it's not so out of this world stuff, but it allows them to kind of mess around with like what kind of technology exists. They don't have to worry about when 20 years down the road, none of this stuff exists, and we're like, how did you do? How are we supposed to have like realistically come up with this kind of crazy technology in that time period? But yeah, like with Fallout, like obviously that stuff is super super advanced, and it worked just because the history diverged at a certain point and everything was different. So I like that they did that. Everything makes sense. And then so after 2020, the first piece of real like big historical event or information or whatever you want to call it that happens that kind of shapes the world that we are now living in this story. April 2nd, 2029, on this day known as White Monday, the Russian mob, the Bratva, believed by most in the U.S. to be a proxy of the Russian government, conducted a massive cyber attack on the entire United States. Almost every website and personal device in the country was brought down by the attack for several weeks, resulting in chaos and the collapse of the economy and a massive amount of businesses. This led to the Russo-Bratva War. Now, with that being said, the war had a whole lot of conflict or geopolitical tension and dynamics going on. So none of our allies wanted to get involved. So when that happened, when they did White Monday, America figured out who was responsible in Russia and just went in and killed them. Now that's not really a spoiler. It's just like, it comes in a later book, you hear about it, but it's really just like a background. They just kind of toss it out there. So it doesn't affect anything like that's going on in the stories with the aliens in the war. It's literally just background information and world building. So I don't feel like I shouldn't be sharing it. Yeah. So anyway, America figures out who did it. They go into Russia with there's no authorization, nothing. Obviously, they're going in to murder Russians, and they take out the people responsible. Russia's like, okay, well, you just came into our sovereign country and did that, even though they did because like they blamed it on the mob, even though like the mob kind of runs the government, kind of thing. Yeah, the proxy of the Russian government. So they were trying to hide behind the fact that like the government didn't really do it, and they should have asked permission to come in or something like that. Anyway, led to this huge conflict. Russia and I think they invaded. So there was fighting in Alaska. There's like Anchorage, Fairbanks. There was a huge battle there. I think that's where they first invaded. I don't have to go back because I don't think it's all on here. So I'm probably gonna have to go back and actually skim through the books and see if I can find a little bit more information out about these wars. That might be what I do on my rereads. Just kind of starts compiling this information. Because there's it's thrown out all around in the stories and stuff. But yeah, there was Alaska. I think there was a war with China or Korea. No, I can't remember, dude. There's a lot of fighting. But anyway, we hate Russia, and we were pissed off at our allies because when we went and did that, like Britain and a bunch of our other allies felt like we were way overstepping our bounds. So yeah, they didn't help, and that caused even more tension, and it just led to this very tense geopolitical landscape globally, where a lot of countries, there's not really a whole lot of teamwork and collaboration going on between the countries of the world, particularly especially with like China and Russia and the U.S. But even with our allies now, after that Russia brought the war, even our allies aren't that great. Not that they don't have a reason to be, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's not. It's. I think it's cool that he put that in there because, or Brett and Blaine put that in there like that because it kind of explains why things end up being the way they are when the fish. So when the aliens invade, every country kind of has different slang for the fish. In America, we call them the fish. When they invade, you see that a lot of countries, unlike the trope that you always hear, like, oh, it will take an alien invasion for humanity to unite. Well, that's not a thing in land and sea. They don't unite, and this kind of explains why. The more you kind of learn about the Russo-Bratva War and the different political tensions between the different countries, and like the international landscape. So yeah, the Bratva War is actually very important, and it touches on a lot of things going forward, like even the mechs, like why the mechs were created, which are called Ashers. In America, their rigs are called Ashers, which is the Assyrian god of war. And yeah, we'll go a little bit into that a little bit more. But yeah, so 2034, October 2035, the estimated date range that the alien fish began to covertly invade planet Earth. So when the aliens came in, they would come in, they might smash into a satellite or take out an aircraft or smash into a ship. All kinds of like weird, sporadic accidents or mishaps that nobody really pieced all the different informations together. So nobody really noticed. Nobody noticed the fish invading, like from any country. And it wasn't until they've already been here for 5 years, and the way that they figured out that it was 5 years that the fish had been here, or that's the number they came up with, because there was I think at the time he was a major in the Army, Ashton Slade. He was an intelligence officer. He was going through all this information, and he wasn't looking for anything. He was just doing his job and going through stuff, and he started to notice a pattern. And he's actually the one that alerted the United States that he believed, and it was like hard for him to say this because it's a crazy theory, that aliens had been invading Earth, and it looked like the invasion had started 5 years prior. So he was able to give America at least a little bit of a heads up to the alien presence before they actually launched their initial attack, but didn't do a whole lot of stinking good because a lot of people still got their asses kicked. And like I said, Paradise is about the fighting on Hawaii, and like Hawaii, latest book talks about Puerto Rico. A lot of these island states and countries are not doing great, as you could expect, with an enemy that literally lives underwater. But yeah, dude. Let's see. So yeah, there was 5 years. So he Yeah, he cataloged all this information. He's like, looks like this stuff started happening 5 years ago. So that's where the 5 year range comes from. Is Ashton Slade? I don't remember her name, but he was working with like another intelligence officer at the time, and that's how they came up with that. But yeah. All right, so July 28th, 2039. The aliens' invasion on the surface begins with full force attacks on Guam and Hawaii and Trojan attacks on coastal cities around the world. So yeah, Guam. So in the books, you see, perspective-wise, Guam, you see the fighting there. You hear about the fighting in Hawaii. There's no POV characters there. There are a few POV characters in LA. Let's see, who else is there, dude? The Pentagon. There's quite a few in LA. Like there's Dana Blaze, there's Jay Drake, CC, there's Colton, Antonio Colton. Yeah, I think is that all of them? No, Kane, I think he gets sent to DC. Yeah, that's where he ends up going. And then there's a sub-pilot, or a submariner, XO. Yeah, there's quite a few. Anyway, I lost my train of thought there. Got a little sidetracked, but that's all right. So yeah, the aliens come out and they just start. Well, they catch everybody off guard, even though Slade had, given the country advance warning. They didn't really do much because they didn't want to let on that something weird was happening. To the point where these weird alien snail creatures, like the size of school buses, started coming out of like public beaches, like in LA, and going up into the city, and they weren't doing anything. And the humans and the city and the government didn't do anything in response. They kind of just let them come in. And once they were in, like right in the middle of the city, their shells opened up, and a bunch of these little tiny like sand mine, like that, probably I think they're the size of like a golf ball or tennis ball, about that size. Anyway, they respond to like noise and like physical stimulation, and they're like little land piranhas that just tear people to shreds. So they released all those things, killed like thousands, probably millions of people in all around the world in big cities like that. That was a coordinated attack, and yeah, that's just kind of how that went. And then obviously in Guam, the Marines were fighting. None of the officers were around, and we find out why none of the officers were around to kind of organize everything in book 4, which is in the short stories. There's a short story that explains that. But yeah, dude, the fighting there, they're definitely caught off guard. Obviously, there's aliens. One, it's a surprise attack, and two, they're fighting aliens that have very advanced technology. All their technology is like biological. They shoot like acid, gases, high pressure, like magnetized water, needlers. Like I said, they all look like their regular flesh and stuff is kind of armored. So like the crab monsters have really hard skin that like small arms fire just bounces off of. So you have to score like a really good hit in order to actually find a crease in the armor to take out some of these things. Other ones like the frogs, you can pretty much just mow them down. But they're the kind of thing where they don't really, pain's not really a thing for them, at least regular like bullet pain. Some like chemicals or like heat, things like that might cause them pains where they actually react to it. But just like shooting them, like unless you actually like hit a critical system and like put them down, they're going to keep on crawling because pain and fear, that's not really anything that they understand or feel. If they feel it, we don't understand how they feel because they don't seem to respond to it. Yeah, so land and sea. So the aliens come out, they attack, and this is like a global attack all across. It's not every single square inch of coastline. It's key places. The Navy gets completely hammered and destroyed, as you would expect from, an enemy that's so well adapted to being underwater. So the Navy is pretty much put out of the fight real quick. Multiple key locations are targeted and attacked. Some of them manage to put up a decent defense. Some of them go down and are lost. A lot of cities just become kind of constant battlegrounds with the battle lines moving back and forth and stalemates here and there. And honestly, like thinking about it does sound like that might get a little stale and boring, but it doesn't, man. Like there's always rising stakes and new challenges, even though the battle lines don't really move a ton for the most part. I mean, sometimes they do. But there's just always new things going on with this IP. Every new book comes out. You don't know, like, the last book just ended with a ton, like, multiple cliffhangers because all the books have so many different POV characters in it. And, yeah, book 8, ton of cliffhangers. I feel like I'm all over the place here. But, oh, man, so many cool aliens. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to give away too much. I mean, maybe I should put spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about everything. I'm not going to hold anything back. So, as I go forward. So yeah, initial attack. Is that it? That's the timeline? Okay, the characters. Okay, so book 1. I think I want to do this. I'm trying to explain what land and sea is. So that, I mean, I guess that kind of does explain it all. Like, the aliens invade humanity. Even up to now, book 8, we don't know why the fish invaded. We don't know what they want. They appear to be the weirdest. The most information we've kind of gotten as to what they're targeting is they've been, like, destroying our buildings, but taking out, like, the steel frames and stuff of the buildings and taking the steel underwater. What they're doing with it, we have no idea. Why they want it, we don't know. Other than that, it's just like these things showed up, started killing us, and we have to mount a defense. And beyond that, nobody really knows what the hell's going on. So it's kind of a dreary situation for the soldiers because you're literally, you're fighting for literally your species, but at the same time, you're like, you can't tell if you're gaining any ground. Sometimes it feels like your victories are only victories because the fish let you in or just didn't care enough to keep pushing. Yeah, I don't know. I guess first and foremost, also land and sea is mechs versus aliens, right? There's grunts and there's like tanks and assault vehicles and stuff. What the Ashers are kind of known as, like, humanity's greatest weapon against the fish. So the Ashers are they are battle suits, battle mechs. They're not huge. They're not like BattleTech where they're like the size of a building. These ones are more like the size of the ones in Avatar, where you climb in, your feet kind of stand on the top of the knees of the rigs, and yeah, they're at least in America. So like I said, every country has different rigs. They're not all called Ashers. In America, all the rigs are, the different models are named after animals. So you have like the badger, the lion, the hyena, so on and so forth. When the book starts out, we are on Gen 2 Asher rigs. And those use batteries to run, and it's not very efficient. The machines themselves draw a ton of power off the batteries. And so that's kind of the limiting factor in battle to how long you can fight, is that and how many your weapons draw on it. Just moving around draws on it. So it's kind of, especially when the fish come, it's a very big handicap for us, because while our Ashers are good at killing fish, that's a huge handicap they have, is not being able to go for very long without having to go back and swap out their batteries. So that gets addressed later on. So yeah, you have your Ashers. Asher pilots are basically like fighter pilots. They're revered. They're seen as badasses. And when you go to Asher school and you qualify, you only qualify on that one rig. So if you see somebody who has like multiple patches for different rigs, that means they went back to Asher school and requalled, and that's like very prestigious. Like double qual people is kind of like super badass. 3 qual. There's one character he has 4 quals, and I think he probably, to my knowledge, he's like the only one in the whole military that has that. He's a badass. That's old Adam Kane, dude, Master Sergeant. Yeah, he's a cool guy. The Bane of the Officer. Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. He's I don't know where I'm at here. Let me think. Got the Ashers. Talked about those. Yeah, man. I don't know what's here, so I gotta make too big of a rush here. Someone had jumped on. Okay, I'm not trying to go too in depth because I want to just kind of talk about like what land and sea is and then who made it. So yeah, I don't know if there's too much more to really talk about what it is. It's aliens invade. We don't know what they want, why they invaded, and basically we're fighting for survival. Our cities are collapsing. All of our big metropolitan areas have become war zones. Um, all the big coastal cities are war zones, and basically people are refugees inside their own country, fleeing toward like Middle America. And there's just a whole slew of problems aside from the war that come with that, like logistics, infrastructure, societal collapse, like with like morality and things. It's just it's an interesting landscape, and we do get to see other countries too, especially in the short story and in book four, but also like at the beginning of each section of a book. So I think they're called cycles. There's usually 3 cycles in each book. So usually at the beginning of a cycle, they kind of have like a quick, short little, I don't know, 2, 3 different POVs from random characters who aren't the normal like protagonists in the book, and then it goes in. Usually each chapter is one entire POV per character. Then the next chapter will switch to a different character. But yeah, it's a global thing, right? It's humanity versus this existential threat, pretty much. So that's what Land and Sea is. It's very cool if you like military sci-fi, if you like aliens blowing shit up, if you like mechs, if you like a little bit. It's not super futuristic. It's just like I said, it's near future. So there's definitely advanced tech, but it also has that familiar feel to it. So if any of this sounds like something you're interested in, I would absolutely go jump on Land and Sea. We need more people. I need more people to talk to about this because I got the Discord, but it's not always easy because no one, it's hard to get someone on like that. But we'll see. My God, I'm rambling so bad. Anyway, go read Land and Sea. So that's what it is. Let's go down, talk to the characters. We don't need to go into that, but here, let me. If you want to see what so this is like, I think this is the Lion Rig. This book 1, Splashdown. That is book 2, Riptides. I've done reviews on all 8 books, by the way. If you go into my YouTube channel, go to the playlist. There's a Land and Sea playlist, and all 8 books are there. Storm Surge. This one was my favorite of the first trilogy. Flotsam of War. This is the collection of short stories. Ratchet's Run. So this is a standalone story. It's like a heist, almost like two different factions competing, like a race against the clock to pull a heist in a very dangerous area. Very cool story, standalone. If you wanted to dip your toes into Land and Sea, and you didn't want to like start a series because you don't want to, feel like you were missing out on something. If you're not planning on reading the whole thing and you want to just do one, I would recommend this book right here, because you get the whole flavor of the world, and it's a really fun. Like the whole heist thing is. Not only is it a fun story, but it's kind of an interesting commentary on the soldiers themselves and and civilians, and how. I don't know, they kind of view their role in this conflict that seems to be never ending. Maybe they feel unappreciated, and they feel like maybe they're like, why are they don't understand why they're risking their life. So these kind of questions that these characters seem to have. And like they understand the whole, like, we're needing to defend humanity thing, but like we can see the way the fighting takes place, and like how people, like the attrition and the stalemate. It just feels like you're doing all this work for nothing. Like nothing happens. It's just going out, dying, and for nothing. That's what it feels like. It's a very compelling feeling, and make you understand why somebody would go and want to rob something. Anyway, I'm not going to go too much more than that. This is book 6. This is the last book in season 1. Tides of Redemption. Basically, they shoot down this alien spacecraft that crash lands in Greenland, and they go to investigate and see what they can find. Yeah, really super awesome. Oh, that's weird. They are. This is a little bit updated. The other paragraph needs to be updated, I guess. Whatever. Yeah, so book 7, Cyclones of Chaos. These right here on the cover, these are Gen 1s that have kind of been retrofitted with newer technology, and they got these sweet sniper rifles. So the Fox Hunters, other than Master Sergeant Adam Kane, the rest of the unit is all like disabled active duty military. So they have like bionic legs, or they've been injured in some way where they weren't normally fit anymore for like infantry duty or whatever. So they got put to like a desk job or something, but they had like, they have like this cool technology where you literally have like a robotic arm that's like covered in skin, and basically, works, but for some reason they can't go do their job. So they got permission to start this unit with those people and put them in these rigs with these sniper rifles. And their whole purpose is they're called the Fox Hunters, and the foxes are like that aquatic gorilla that I was talking about. And those things serve as like the scouts and the recon, and help to coordinate the the unit tactics for the fish. So what these guys do, what they wanted to see was if they go out and they start killing those things, will they what will happen? Will the enemy units fly into chaos and not know what's going on? So that's their thing. And yeah, I'm not going to go too much more into that because stuff happens. Paradise, that's going to be the graphic novel, as I said. But I see they don't have the Tsunami. Let's go. Again, all of these are on my channel. Blaine Pardo. Sorry, I'm still working through a cold. So that's it right there. Tsunami of Turmoil. Just getting wild. Oh, gosh, that was gross. Sorry. I hate being sick, dude. It's so nasty. That was disgusting. I apologize. Ugh. Okay, so yeah, Land and Sea. I think that basically covers like the general overarching, the what is Land and Sea. Gosh, dude. Yeah. Okay, so who makes Land and Sea? So I don't really know a ton about these folks, but they seem like good peeps, dude. So Brett Evans, they got a little introduction here on there. So Creative Juggernaut is the name of the company that owns and manages, operates, whatever, the IP of Land and Sea. So I'll just read this part. There is a secret formula. True value is created by owning valuable intellectual properties. While windfalls can certainly be created and realized through profitable business models, solid product performance, and actualized monetization vehicles, those profit figures pale when compared to the value of owning properly managed IPs. True value is found in the combination of creating, owning, and correctly managing brands. This is no secret. I don't know about that. Hasbro knows it, Disney knows it, they might have forgot about it. Nintendo and every major movie studio know it. But what is in short supply are leaders with the subject matter expertise and discipline to properly manage IPs to their true potential. That is what makes the team behind Creative Juggernaut unique. We have that expertise. We know that formula. It's only a matter of time. So these four guys right here, I guess, are running the show. Now, Brett Evans, to my knowledge, this is his idea. I've never spoken with him. I'm not affiliated in any way with Creative Juggernaut. I'm just a fan. To my knowledge, I've seen him on a couple podcasts, and I believe this is his world. It's his idea. And Catalyst Game Labs is where he works. I think he still works, which correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a BattleTech guy or anything, but I'm pretty sure that's the people who own BattleTech. So I think he works for them. Anyway, Brett Evans is a game industry veteran and award-winning art director and the visionary behind Creative Juggernaut. After 2 decades working in the corporate world by day and as a freelance illustrator by night, Brent took the reins as the senior art director for Catalyst Game Labs. There, he built an entire core of illustrators, hiring and developing hundreds of artists who produce award-winning imagery for some of the biggest gaming properties in the world, including BattleTech, Shadowrun, and D&D. In 2017, he took lead on the effort to completely overhaul the BattleTech game line, which resulted in the record-setting successes that game now enjoys. Then in 2019, Brent turned his sights toward building a better monster by creating a small group of companies designed specifically to launch and manage intellectual properties. More importantly, manage those properties properly. Okay, so he has, by creating a small group of companies designed specifically to launch and manage. So is Creative Juggernaut like more than one company? Or does it own like multiple companies? I don't know. More importantly, manage those with depth of channels, novels, comics, board gaming, RPGs, miniatures, and film. As a founder of Creative Juggernaut, Brent is focused on a made-in-America approach for the majority of our products. This isn't nationalism. It's about having control over our supply chain in an ever-evolving market. Brent has forged key alliances with other gaming companies to ensure Juggernaut's long-term success. If Brent has a superpower, it is his ability to assemble and lead teams of creative individuals in bringing IPs to life in ways both creatively wondrous and financially profitable. Oh, I like that. All right, so here's the man, the myth, the legend, the writer of what we have of Land and Sea, the first, it's not like a little kid, the first 8 books by Blaine Lee Pardoe, New York Times best-selling author. Now, I don't think that it's talked about in here, but I don't know much about it. I'm not going to delve into it on this podcast. Now it's about podcast stream. Getting a little big for my britches there, dude. But he wrote, and it says say in here, but he wrote for BattleTech. He wrote, I think it says 11 novels, and for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, they tried to cancel him. He is a conservative guy. He's pretty open about it. And obviously that's wrong think. And they tried to cancel him, and I don't know. I'm sure he was probably bummed out about that, and it sucked. And I'm really glad that he was not canceled, that he didn't lay down and take it, and that he's part of this, because I love Land and Sea. Super, super happy that he didn't give up on writing because he got effed over by, some woke company. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that part. Blaine Lee Pardoe is one of the officers of Creative Juggernaut, where he holds several titles: Chief Amazement Officer, Head World Herder, Concept Alchemist, and Director of Tiger Castration. All right. Blaine cut his teeth in the gaming industry on the white-boxed first edition of Dungeons & Dragons. After college, he wrote source book material for a number of science fiction game franchises, including the Star Trek RPG, Renegade Legion, Space 1889, Twilight 2000, and others. He is best known for his work on BattleTech, where he authored 11 novels in the BattleTech MechWarrior line, as well as countless source books. He and Brent have known each other for years and were looking for the right combination of talent and creativity to work together. Blaine is a New York Times best-selling author, writing in a wide variety of genres, including true crime, military history. Okay, so that military history, you can definitely see that he knows his shit when it comes to that, because when you look in, when you're reading these books, my God, dude, like there's a lot of, especially war history sprinkled in, a lot of World War II stuff. And I feel like that knowledge of past wars helped him to create the Russo-Bratva War and make it seem and feel like a real conflict that really happened, in a way that would make sense to like someone from the modern times, rather than being like ancient swords and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you can definitely tell this guy knows his military history. He wrote horror. Also, you can notice that. So book, obviously, like the aliens they're aliens, right? They're monsters, they're scary, whatever. But they're fighting against like the military. So it's not like you're, some drunk teenager in the woods getting chased by a monster, right? It's a little different. It's not like super horror. However, book 6, Tides of Redemption, when the alien ship comes down and they go inside it, that book is legitimately like way creepier than the rest of the books. So if you want one that has kind of a horror vibe, maybe start with that one. Again, if you're gonna just do one, I would still recommend Ratchet's Run. But if you want one that has like a creep factor that's up a little bit higher, then Tides of Redemption is probably the way you want to go. Anyway, horror and business management. Pardo has been a featured speaker at the U.S. National Archives, the United States Navy Museum, and the New York Military Affairs Symposium. He was awarded the State History Award in 2011 by the Historical Society of Michigan and is a 2-time silver medal and 1-time gold winner from the Military Writers Society of America. In 2013, hey, that's when I joined the Navy, dude. What's up? Mr. Pardo won the Harriet Quimby Award from the Michigan Aviation Hall of Fame for his contributions to aviation history. His books have been mentioned on the floor of the U.S. Congress. He can be followed via Twitter. Yeah, I follow him. No big deal. Spanning over 30 years of mechanical engineering, robotics, R&D, and... Oh, let me get this guy's name first, huh? Kevin Hughes, Director of Engineering. So, this is the one guy I'm not too familiar with. I don't know if he comes in the Discord often. If he does, maybe he's using a different name, I don't know. Or I've just missed it. But I'm not too familiar with this guy. But it sounds like he's the nuts and bolts fella. Spanning over 30 years of mechanical engineering, robotics, R&D, and manufacturing engineering, including 14 years with the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory and numerous spaceflight and mission-critical projects such as the Mars Science Laboratory, Curiosity, Aquarius, Diviner, Mars Lunar Orbiter, the redacted. Anyway, in 2018, he created the animatronic Awesome for Catalyst Game Labs as a merger between his interests of gaming, miniatures, and industrial machinery, with a focus on lean manufacturing and to evolve long-standing manufacturing industry practices by developing next-gen techniques. Kevin provides the direction of physical creation for Creative Juggernaut. So it sounds like this guy... so I used to work for Loophole, and I would work in the literally in the assembly where I put the scopes together in a manufacturing capacity. So if I had to guess this guy, yeah, it sounds like he's maybe actually legit making the assembly line that they put their minis together. I don't know. Something like that, right? Eric Crew. Now, he does talk. He took a bit of a sabbatical, but I think he just came back. And I think he's also pretty heavily involved with the game. To what capacity, I don't know. I mean, he might be designing the whole thing. There's not a super amount of in-depth information on the page here, but I'll just read it real quick. Eric J. Crew has been a longtime nerd, techie, and inventor with a penchant. Let me move this over so I can see it. And drive for finding solutions. He comes from a data background and has taught multiple sessions on SQL Server. I don't know what that is, and the benefits and perils of IT work. So again, yeah, this isn't a bunch of information on Eric, but I think that he is. It sounds like from some of the things I've seen him say in the Discord that he's intimately involved with the war game, the tabletop war game. And I do believe, I think they're going to come out with a tabletop RPG. I don't know when all this stuff's going to happen. Obviously right now what we got coming down the pipeline is more books. Book 9, Blaine just said that he finished the first draft, so now he's going to go back through and do some rewrites. So book 9, I don't know when that's coming out, but it's probably not far off. And then, like I said, the graphic novel's coming down the line. The tabletop game's coming down the line. So I don't know when a video game might come out. I would freaking lose my mind for a Land and Sea video game. I want it, and I want it bad. Yeah, man. So I mean, I really hope to. Eric said that he might be able to come on in a couple weeks. Come on one of these Friday streams. So that would be great. We can ask him some questions about what's going on with the game, and maybe if he knows if there's any other news to relay. Who knows, man? But yeah. I might save I want to go through and compile a big list of all the Asher rigs, and if there's obviously not artwork for every single Asher rig that's been mentioned in the books, because I mean that would probably take a while and cost money to get an artist to do that. But yeah, I can at least talk about it. Tired, man. Probably training my kid, and it's exhausting to constantly follow a person around and wait for him to go to the bathroom all day long. It's something else. Mm-hmm. Secondary characters. Oh yeah. Oh man, we gotta get it. We gotta get some pictures in here. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what else to say about the IP here. It's great. I love it. Creative Juggernaut. I don't know. It says store coming soon. That's cool. What it said about in here about him owning several. I don't know if Catalyst is just one company that owns a bunch of companies, or if he owns other companies besides Creative Juggernaut. Did I say Catalyst? I meant Creative Juggernaut. But yeah, I don't know. Either way, all I really care about at this point is Land and Sea. If they got other things going on, I don't know. But yeah, if you guys want, you can. If you're interested in Land and Sea and you want maybe to know a little bit more in depth about each book, you can go to my channel, Dirtbaggery. You're watching this, so hopefully you know where that's at. But anyway, playlists. And then it's my very first playlist, Land and Sea. 8 videos, one for each book. Go give it a see lookums, dude. Well, it's only 50 minutes. I don't know if I want to be done streaming just yet, but I don't really know what else to talk about as far as this. I don't want to do too much on this episode. I just want to talk about what it was and who makes it. And I guess I kind of covered that, so yeah, that might be it. I think I saw a couple people kind of skim through real quick. If you're watching this, obviously not live, but if you're watching it after the fact, well, by golly, I say that every time. Thanks for coming by. I plan on doing this like every Friday from now on, unless something gets in the way. If we got D&D or something like that, something with the kids pops up. But yeah, I'm also hoping that it's not just gonna be me talking to myself, because that is kind of awkward and I run out of stuff to talk about. So whether it's I have like other fans of Land and Sea come on, which if you are a fan of Land and Sea and you're watching this and you want to come talk to me, or like get on a stream together and chat about Land and Sea, dude, I would love that. We just BS, like talk about our favorite characters or favorite books or whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna keep this specifically to Land and Sea going forward for my Friday nights, because that's just how it is. Again, thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching. If you could comment, like, share, subscribe, and help me grow this channel of mine that I'm growing to love so much. And I'll get better. I know this was kind of a rambly poop show, but I'll figure it out. The more I do it, the better I'll get. That's how it works. But yeah. Well, anywho, I'll see you guys later. Oh God, that's awkward because I didn't have it ready to. Whoops. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.